This is the Young Changemakers podcast, a global changemakers production. I'm Huiti, and together with Megan, we will be your hosts for this season. If you'd like to learn more about the resources and programs that Global Changemakers offers, visit www.global-changemakers.net. Enjoy the episode. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to yet another episode of the Young Changemakers podcast, season 7. My name is Huiti, a Global Changemakers alumni from 2019, and I'm so happy to find myself here again having a conversation with an amazing changemaker by the name of Suzanna. Suzanna, welcome to the Young Changemakers podcast.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Yes, so today we are going to be talking about everything renewable energy and STEM education for girls. We want to hear everything about Susanna's story. And I know as our listeners, you're going to be really inspired by the work that she does, because I know I am. So usually when we start an episode of the Changemakers podcast, Susanna, we start by checking in with ourselves. We're very big on wellness, especially for changemakers that are doing so much work in the community and having such a positive impact. So I just want to check in and ask you, on a scale of 1 to 10, how are you feeling today? And probably just one word to describe your mood.
I would have to say like 4 because I have a bit of a flu, but otherwise I'm okay. My moods, let me say, excited. My sister's getting married on Saturday, so everybody at home is very, very happy.
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah,
amazing. Congratulations to your sister. Such a beautiful time
thank
for the
you.
family. And I'm really
Thank,
glad that you're recovering well. I was like, four, like, oh
thank you.
my, we probably should pause and come back to the conversation. But I'm really glad that you are okay and doing so much better. All right. So I like to start with a little icebreaker that I call this or that. I just want to find out, and I'm sure our listeners want to as well. Are you a morning or an evening person?
Um, Definitely evening. I can't in the morning.
Nice. All right. No, I hear you. A lot of people be like, I'm a night owl. I prefer to work into the evening. So
Yeah.
I hear
What
you.
about you?
I'm definitely an evening person as well, but I'm trying to
Okay.
transition to be a little bit of both just so that I can
Okay.
exercise and get ahead of my day in the morning. So I'm aiming at least for like 6 a.m. Hopefully
Yeah.
one day join the 5 a.m. but only
I'm
just for
rooting
that,
for
for the
you.
exercise.
I see.
Yes. All right. So summer or winter?
Winter. Summer I can't. I can't. I like,
Oh
because
my God.
in summer you can't do anything. You can't do anything about the weather, but in winter you can mitigate it, blankets and hot water bottles and such.
I think you're the first guest who has chosen winter. And the way I'm so afraid of winter, I really do not love
Really?
being cold. Yes. All right. So tea or coffee?
Um, Tea. I
All right.
like masala tea, the Indian tea, but generally I stay away from hot beverages. They make me sweat, so I don't really drink either.
Oh, okay. No, that's really nice to
Hmm.
hear. Thank you so much for sharing a little bit about yourself. And
So
now we're just going to go straight into it. Susanna, you are Zambia's first energy systems engineer.
I
Wow.
am.
A change maker of note with such a big passion for STEM education, especially for young girls. Can you tell
Yes.
us a little bit about your background? Which country are you from? Your academic background? Just a little bit about your journey as a change maker as well. And tell us what inspired you to go into this field.
So I'm from Zambia. I grew up in Namibia, but I'm a Zambian, spent most of my life in Zambia. Um, I have always had like a passion for entrepreneurship. Like I had my first job when I was 14. I always had to like look for something to do or some way to, make money. I used to volunteer when I was younger. I've just always been one of those people who needs to be doing everything. So I eventually finished high school. I went to study in Cyprus. I knew I wanted to be an engineer, but I wasn't sure what type of engineering I wanted to do. So I did some research, and we found out like where the world is going, especially with the SDGs and the general goals that that we all have now. We're moving away from fossil fuels. We're trying to foster sustainability. We don't want to be, energy poor. We have so many issues that, especially coming from a third world country, that are very closely related to the energy sector. So I chose, okay, let me do this energy systems engineering of a thing. And my degree basically focuses mainly on the renewables. Of course, I am, certified to build and design any kind of energy system, whether it's fossil fuels, whether it's coal, it doesn't matter. But my focus was to really get into the idea of how to build renewable energy systems, because that's what my country is currently looking for. So finally finished the degree. I, really got to understand the need when I came back home, because I had studied in Europe. I came back home and I found, it's insane. Every year, Zambia has about 300,000 hectares of deforestation because we're cutting down the trees to make charcoal because there's no electricity. I think now the statistic is 66% of all Zambians, they live completely in the dark. They're completely off grid. So having this knowledge and, specialized information, I figured, there has to be a way that I can marry my passion for entrepreneurship with my professional expertise. So yeah, I went to register as an engineer because you have to do that over here for you to practice engineering and be a consultant and things like that. And they said, oh, there's nothing like that in the system. There's no energy systems engineer. So they made that new category for me. And yeah, the rest is history. I started my company and I made sure that I incorporated the community in everything that I was doing. I think being Global Changemakers alumni in 2023 was a game changer for me, because that was really what like helped me understand, okay, this is what I want to do. This is what I want my organization to look like. I don't want it to be just another company that makes a lot of money, but it must also make impact. So with the support of GCM, the support of Gabriella, even the people that we met, I've really been able to make my organization very well rounded. It's not just one track where providing a service and making money. And that's even the biggest part of my brand. The reason why we've been so successful is because of everything that we're doing in the community.
An amazing story to share already. And you've already jumped into my next question, but there's definitely no problem with that. I really just want to applaud you because you're charting new territory. As I'm reflecting, as you're sharing, I'm like, oh my God, this is for the young change makers that are going to listen to this episode. They're going to be inspired to explore another career field altogether. They now have heard about energy systems and that it is possible and it has been done in
Yes.
Zambia by a female, no less, by a woman. And so that on its own is just inspiration beyond our wildest dreams. And that is
Thank
exactly
you.
what we want. So my next question was actually going to be about your journey and experience as a global change maker, to say what motivated you to join the Global Change Makers organization. So Suzanna is an alumni from 2023, and actually just share a little bit about now, post your participation at the summit, how has it impacted your work? And you've already gone into it, so now I'm just like, oh, Susanna is a Global Changemaker alumni, she's a grantee, she does so many amazing work. But maybe just in a nutshell, share a little bit about what motivated you to join Global Changemakers.
Yeah, sure. So when I graduated, I have a sister who lives in South Africa. So I spent like 6 months volunteering in South Africa with an organization called Eng, very popular, the child STEM education, specifically for the girls. They've done amazing work. And so I started thinking of ways to be able to do that in my own country, because I'm going back home to Zambia, but there's nothing like this in Zambia. I need to find out how I can, because this is amazing. I was just so moved. They were teaching the kids STEM education. The girls were really getting involved and debunking all these ridiculous myths. Even I was told engineering is hard, do something else. But to know that there was an organization that was genuinely like, no, we are all females, we are all engineers, and we're recruiting more women in STEM. They were very passionate about it. So I really just wanted to emulate, of course, with a few differences because it's country specific. I wanted to bring that kind of initiative to my country. So I sit down and look for different opportunities, and GCM just popped up. I can't even remember. I think it must have been my classmate. I had a classmate in uni. Her name is Melissa. She's from Zimbabwe, and she saw the ad and she was like, "You need to apply for this." And I saw it. I said, okay, let me take my chance. The next thing I knew, I was in Cape Town. I was being given all these amazing like tools and things I'd never heard before, like design thinking and financial modeling for a nonprofit. I was like, wow, this is like a whole science. Um, but it was that training that was able to get me to a point where I am the impact that we were making was like a widespread thing. We've made so much impact. We've impacted thousands of children, but it was coming to GCM that sort of gave me let me say, framework of how to ensure that my project was successful. So I think for me that was literally a turning point. I am one of the things I'm most grateful for was coming to GCM. That was a game changer.
Amazing. And definitely have to agree with you. A lot of
Mm,
the amazing concepts that we learn at Global Changemakers, I also encountered them for the first time when I was an alumni attending the summit in
mm,
2019. Design thinking, the complexity of just approaching sustainability and the problems that our communities have. So I definitely echo that and say that a lot of amazing resources at Global Changemakers. You can visit www.global changemakers.net and explore all the amazing resources that the organization has to have. There are free toolkits,
mm,
there are some free courses as well at the Changemakers School and others paid. On ecology, project management, menstruation and sexual
mm,
reproductive health facilitation tools. So do not miss out on that opportunity to really explore the website and explore all the different offerings that Global Changemakers has for changemakers all over the globe. So I want to hear then
mm.
a little bit, Suzanna, growing up, did you have access to STEM opportunities? And do you think maybe that your personal experience has shaped your mission today?
100%. There was nothing. We didn't even know what STEM was. We were encouraged to, they kind of tethered you towards being an accountant or, if you want to do sciences, maybe a pharmacist or a quantity surveyor. I had somebody in my own family tell me, do something else. Engineering is hard. Not to say that there's anything wrong with any of those sectors. Those are amazing. We have some quantity surveyors that we volunteer with my kids with. It's just, the avenue for you to kind of understand STEM, for you to understand engineering, for you to understand this type of industry as a girl was completely non-existent, like nothing whatsoever. So I knew after I had finally achieved this thing, I had to get it accessible to every single girl I could find.
Repeat, you are literally charting new territory for young girls in Zambia. And I'm really excited about that. And,
Mm.
you know, people are probably hearing us talk a little bit about your company, your organization. This is the moment. I want us to let them know a little bit about Tisuka Foundation. And I hope I'm pronouncing it well. Tell us, how did
Yes,
the
you
name come
are.
about? What does the name
We get
mean?
this question. We get this question all the time. So Tisuka is it's a common Zambian language named called Nyanja. Tisuka means we are cleaning. So what I meant it's supposed to mean we are cleaning the environment with renewable energy solutions. That's what the
Wow,
name means.
that's amazing. It's really nice
Yes,
to hear the meaning behind it because I was always so curious. I'm like, it sounds so beautiful, but what does it mean? All
thank you.
right. So tell us a little bit about the work that you do at your company and just a little bit as well about the Tsuka Foundation. What's your vision and what do you hope to address and achieve in your community, especially addressing maybe gender disparities in the energy sector or just climate change as a whole?
So the Tisuka is a group of companies. We have Tisuka Engineering Consultancy because it needs to be registered separately as a consultant. It's a whole thing. So we give engineering consultancy for renewable energy projects. With the crisis now, there's a lot of companies that are building solar farms and big, power plants, and they need help developing like clean cooking solutions and things like that. So we are registered engineering consultants and we actually offer those services. Then there's Tisuka Energy Solutions where we do solar installation. I'm a certified solar technician. So me and my guys climb on the roof and we install solar panels at people's companies, whatever it may be. And then there's the Tisuka Foundation that was registered separately again as a non-profit. Here we are mainly in the education space because I feel like the best way to educate a community is to educate a girl. So we give the kids whatever we can do, literally whatever it is. We partner with companies that are giving like free tech courses because tech is a thing now. We give them a free solar installation course. We even a Global Changemakers sexual reproductive health course. There's been a little bit of resistance just because of in Africa, the fear of everybody's period. But when we get parental consent and consent from the school, we do, give that Global Change Makers course to the girls. And we also donate reusable sanitary pads in the communities where the girls need them the most. We're sensitizing the children about climate change. We're sensitizing the children about the role of renewable energy in fighting climate change, even in their own communities. They're burning charcoal for hours. They don't understand the effect it's having on their health. They don't understand how unsustainable that is. So we try and open the children's minds and get them to adopt more sustainable practices even in their homes. So the goal at the Tisuka Foundation is really just to go into the grassroots communities, sit under the tree, with the person who's been neglected, the person who's been marginalized, and, offer a helping hand, educate them on how they can play a part in Zambia's clean energy transition, educate them on how they should be, the girls especially, should be looking after their health. We want to see a situation where we don't have period poverty anymore. We want to see a situation where nobody's using, harmful energy resources, and we're able to do this for the people who need it the most. We're not going to private schools and opening a big show. We're trying to reach everyone at their level. We're trying to foster complete equality. Every single child is the same, every single girl is the same, and just try and help them improve their lives as best we can.
Congratulations on already having such a strong positive impact. Even as you share, your passion is coming through. And I know that Zambia's young girls are just that much fortunate to have you and Tsuka Foundation doing that amazing work that you are doing. And actually, just want to remind our listeners to please subscribe to the Young Changemakers podcast. As you can see, our guests are phenomenal. I'm not saying it myself. You've already just heard as Suzanna was speaking. So make sure you subscribe, you share the podcast with family and friends, and leave us a comment or a review and let us know your thoughts and view on this topic as well. Now, tell us a little bit maybe about the Tsuka Sunshine Scholarship, which provides
Right.
solar installation training. I'm just so fascinated about that because I'm just like, wow, the exposure, the skills training. Wow, wow,
Right.
wow. Mm.
I think that was the best idea I ever had in my life, in a lifetime of ideas. So I remember it was when GCM reached out and said that they had grant funding that they wanted us to, participate in and, apply for the grant funding. And I'm thinking, yeah, I mean, I'm volunteering, I'm doing all this, but maybe I should, you know, we would go into different schools and we'd teach the kids about STEM, me and a bunch of engineers. We didn't really need any money. We were like, giving them a presentation, information from even our old lecture notes in university, whatever we could find, we would just go and teach the kids. So I thought, if there's it's grant funding, maybe let somebody else get the funding. Then the following year, this was 2024, yeah, because I remember I came to Cape Town in 23. I had this idea because of load shedding. We had terrible drought in Zambia. We use, I think, 86% of our power comes from hydropower, from water. And then we had a terrible drought because of climate change. And so there was no electricity. It was like a disaster. And I thought to myself, well, right now everybody's like losing their minds looking for solar installers, and people's houses are, they're getting substandard installations. It's not everybody who can afford a company that's been registered and they can afford for Susanna to go and climb the roof. It's an expensive thing. It's a capital intensive thing. Um, and I thought, oh my goodness, wouldn't it be nice if these children that we are, impacting, these children that we're trying to help, could have this skill that could make so much money. And that's where the idea came from. So I sat down, I looked at the requirements. I was like, okay, so how do I subsidize this? How do I reduce my costs? How do I make everything fit in this budget to make sure that I can impact as many children as possible? And exactly what we were told, what we were taught, sorry, when we came to Cape Town. I remember Bax, the guy, we call him Bax. He gave a lesson on design thinking. So we went to the schools and we were like, okay, let's talk about this. What really is going on here? What is you guys' issue? How do you feel about this type of a course? How do you feel about being given this skill? Courtney had explained about the financial modeling of your project. You need to make sure that whatever budget you have, your project is making sense and you're actually impacting these children. So just from the things that I'd learned, I designed my project and I said I am gonna do this. So right now, we have, well, let me first of all talk about the project itself. The Tisuka Sunshine Scholarship is really a scholarship that gives a free solar installation course accredited by an organization in Zambia called Teveta, which is like a really big deal. Um, I personally am a solar technician, so there was no need to increase the bill and have the kids go to a school and all of those things. I can teach those things myself. I'm certified to do so. So for 3 days the children learn a theoretical course. I teach them all the math. I explain to them what is climate change, what is renewable energy, what is a solar panel, what is a battery, what is an inverter, how do you connect it, how big should it be, how small should it be, what's going to happen if you do this, what kind of cables you're supposed to buy, the average price of these things, how this is affecting climate change, how this is helping the environment. It's a very intensive course, lots and lots of math. And then on the final day, the fourth day, we take the children to a trade school, also Teveta accredited trade school in one area in Zambia called Silverest, where the kids spend the whole day from like 8 o'clock in the morning till maybe like 3 or 4 p.m. They install solar systems on the ground. We climb on the roof and they install solar systems. They install a solar water pumping system. They install solar lighting system. They physically do the work themselves so that they like really like, okay, all these things that we were learning, we actually know how to do them. And they successfully light up the bulbs. They do like full proper installation. And then at the end of it, they receive their certificates. In some of the schools, we found a lot of the girls don't go to school when they're menstruating. So we were able to secure some reusable sanitary pads, thanks to Global Changemakers from Welfare Trust for Children in Zimbabwe. It's one of their social enterprises selling the reusable pads to us. So we donated them so that the kids who would have issues, they're on their period and they can't come, everybody was taken care of. And thus far, we have sensitized 21 girls and 10 boys. This is a mix of orphans, kids that come from like a home where for disadvantaged and traumatized children. And we have sensitized 31 children in total with a solar installation training. They've gotten their certificates. They can put it on their CV, like this is something that we did. And we've donated 50 reusable sanitary pad kits to date through the Tisuka Sunshine Scholarship.
Amazing, amazing, amazing work. Thank you so much for sharing all the positive impact that you've already had with the project. And I know that it's going to grow bigger and that your
Thank
business
you.
as well is going to flourish. That's one thing we really want for our change makers, for them to have such a positive impact in that community. So now I just want to find out, in your experience, what have been some of the challenges or barriers that you believe that young women such as ourselves and girls face when they're trying to actually enter these STEM fields? And it could be at a local level,
Mm.
international level, just some challenges that even if personally you've experienced and would like to share with us, and maybe some solutions, some suggestions on how
Mm.
we can address those
Mm.
challenges.
So the first one is, I think, imposter syndrome. very often you're surrounded by a bunch of men. Even I go to all kinds of different events in so many different countries, and I'm involved in this sector. I'm involved in the energy sector. I'm involved in the nonprofit space. I'm involved in the STEM education space. I'm the gender equality poster child. And I'm surrounded by people who I feel maybe are doing better than me, or people who have more experience than me. And I sit there and wonder, okay, but then, why do I deserve this? I think as women, especially coming from Africa, you're trained to be in service to others. You're not really trained to to believe in yourself that you are enough to make that impact. You are enough to reach that goal. So I feel like imposter syndrome is a huge issue. Secondly, access to finance. I feel like people these days, I understand where the world is moving. The I was reading that the shortest payback period any kind of business that you're in is in the tech space. So if you have an app, you're more likely to get funding because it's a huge money maker. But I'm thinking, there's us on this side as well. We're still old fashioned nonprofit trying to make impact and make an effort, and we're trying to foster sustainability. We're trying to get everybody involved in getting rid of climate change. And I feel there's very limited access to finance, especially for the STEM education of the girls. The general consensus in my country, at least, has been we have bigger problems. But I'm thinking, what is a bigger problem than the fact that there's no power? What is a bigger problem than the fact that these kids are not going to school because they're bleeding? What is a bigger problem than the fact that only I think 27% of all STEM employees in Zambia are women, only 27%, and there's almost 20 million people in Zambia. So that's been a huge challenge I find as well. And then thirdly, I think capacity building, being in a situation where you have a good enough network to help you develop a robust project, a project that is feasible, a project that attracts support. I think we were blessed to come to Cape Town and have somebody actually just explain to us, even having done the project management for Changemakers course, that was extremely monumental in the success of our projects. I'm sure many of my fellow alumni will tell you, because going into it, okay, I have an idea, and you kind of just have to sort of build on it. But when you're given that guidance, you're given that capacity building, when it's laid out for you in a proper way that you can see, okay, what are my metrics? How am I going to monitor and evaluate? How am I going to, you know, given that training, that support, just understanding how we can get this off the ground, how we can ensure sustainability, that's been a huge issue as well. Some solutions I can recommend. I think we need stronger partnerships specifically for women-owned businesses. And then we need gender-targeted financing. We need financing for women projects. We need financing for projects that are run by women and run for women. We need to raise awareness in our government space. People who are you're going and talking to about the impact that you're making. They're not moved by this. For them, there are bigger problems. And for me, that's just insane. That's just crazy. Nobody's problem is bigger than another problem. A problem is a problem. So I think if we are to raise awareness on the statistics, the lawmakers, the people who are in charge, the people who make the decisions, the people who sign the contracts, the people who are in charge of giving the funding, in charge of giving the support, in charge of giving the training, if they can see the magnitude of the problem and understand why our impact is important, I think that would be the best solution to tackle that.
Oh, I definitely agree with you on all the points, especially just the importance of collaborative work. We need to be working together to go far in the work that we're doing. And especially
Yes.
in these spaces that have always been deemed male dominated spaces, we are changing the status quo. Now, representation matters more than anything else. That's why I was like, it's
Yes.
so nice to see you as a systems engineer in Zambia. That's a representation. That is a young girl looking and saying it is possible, and seeing
Yes.
a way, a path that is being charted and that has been charted for them to possibly take. So I definitely agree that we need to be working across all stakeholders, collaborative work, in order for
Yes.
us to get to a place where there is an equitable and sustainable world for all of us to live in with such great positive impact. And you
Yes.
did bring up an important aspect of technology. We live in such a digital world. these days, everything
Mm,
that you touch or any project, you will be asked about AI, and the impact of AI in your project. So I just want to find out
yes.
from you, how has digital technology helped your advocacy work and just your work in general, if in any way? And are there any particular tools or platforms that you work with the most, just in light of how of technology and where the world is heading now?
Well, digital technology has been, I mean, it's a need, it's a necessity at this point. Our course is actually online. I just go and physically teach the children because a lot of them learn better that way, but the course is online. Um, Then, secondly, our marketing tools, all the social media posts, we're constantly dancing on social media. I'm sure you've seen all my videos. Canva is your friend. We use Canva for everything. And then, in situations where we need to give, a talk, or we need to give certain points, or we need to come up with like a framework of how a session is going to be, even the feedback forms. After the project is done, we give feedback forms to the parents, to the teachers, even to, we don't necessarily need the AI to copy paste, but when you ask the prompt, give the prompt like, okay, this is what we're doing, and we need some really good points, we need some good questions for the survey, aspects of this that's going to really improve on our monitoring and evaluation. What should we go and ask the kids? Like, what should we be wanting to find out? What data should we collect so that we can improve and fine tune our project? AI has been, that's our tool for that. Very, very useful. So it's Chat GPT and a lot of Canva, lots and lots of Canva. And then our website as well. We have a server called I think it's Hostinger. That's what we use for the website. So on the website we have yeah, everything is a lot of the data, even the blog posts that we put on the website explaining, what the kids did, and where the institution was, the impact that we made. We use AI for that as well.
Amazing. Thank
Mm,
you so much for sharing just how you at Tisuka leverage technology. And like I
mm,
said, really, we're in a point, and I agree with you, at a point where technology has really taken over, and digital marketing is literally at the top of everything that we do. And we're supposed to be sharing the work that we do just so that others get inspired, but above all, so that our work is visible for people that can actually help collaborate and propel us to greater heights, so that ultimately the community benefits even more, like you said,
mm,
at grassroots level, which is just so much
yes.
important. And we're
Mm.
actually coming to the end of our conversation. I'm really sad because I've been enjoying
Me
my time with
too.
you here. But just as a last word of advice, as we close off our conversation, Susanna, what advice would you then give to young people who are passionate about contributing to renewable energy, who are interested in actually promoting STEM opportunities for other young girls?
Mm.
What advice would you give to them if they don't know where to start?
I say they should start by starting. When I started, I had no money. I didn't really know what my project was going to be about. I did not know who was going to help me. I could have thought of a couple of names, but not really. I was feeling shy to call and find out. If you stay in that space, you will never do it. Start by starting. Just start. Figure it out. Go on the internet, go on opportunity desk, go on opportunities for youth, go and find out people who are funding this thing. Look in your community, in your government, do they have opportunities for these things? We have so many these innovation hubs in Zambia now that are giving funding for these type of projects. The Rotary Club of Lusaka, recently we got some funding from them as well, just for explaining to them that we've done the Tisuka Sunshine Scholarship with GCM. We got more money for us to give more scholarships. If you don't take a chance on yourself, nobody's taking a chance on you. So just go ahead and do it, even though you're afraid, you are freaking out. How am I going to afford this? Who is going? Where do I start from? It's okay. That's normal. Everybody has been through it. That's not a problem. Be in that space. Be afraid. That's fine, but don't let it stop you. Just start by starting.
This is definitely my quote. I am going to quote you more. So every time during an episode, I have that moment where I'm like, I'm going to quote my guest. And this is it for me. Start by starting. where
Yes.
you are with what you have, whether you're
Mm,
volunteering, looking for resources, but make sure that you
mm,
start by starting.
yes.
Susanna, thank you so much
Mm,
for your time. Tell us, where can people connect with you on social media, and how can they support the Tisuka
this is
Foundation
okay.
work?
So we have a website. It's www.tisukagroup.com. It's TISUKA group.com. We have Instagram, which is at Tisuka Group, Facebook at Tisuka. You'll be able to find everything there, all our social media. We do have a donate page on our website, so you can go ahead and follow the instructions there. And yeah, looking forward to hearing from anybody who wants to learn more. We're more than happy to keep talking. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Suzanne. And thank you to our listeners. We are because you are listening. So make sure to subscribe, share the podcast across all the social media platforms, share it with your family, with your friends. It's been such a pleasure to have another amazing changemaker share their story and the work that they do. So thank you. And until the next episode, this is season 7. And Huiti, thank you so much for joining. Thank you for listening to the Young Changemakers podcast, a global changemakers production. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen to it. And if you'd like to find out about the resources and programs that Global Changemakers offers, visit www.global-changemakers.net. Until next time.